Hey, this is Rob, and you're listening to the Hidden Destination podcast. All right, today is September 18th, and I'll be recapping the past 2 days. I didn't record an episode yesterday. I was in Port Huron with my dad, and we were doing father-son stuff. So didn't get around to recording an episode. So I will do yesterday's ride and today's ride. So yesterday, I rode from Otter Lake to Port Huron with a distance of 67 miles and a little under 1,000 feet of climbing. And it was really hard. Yesterday was super challenging, and the highway that I was on for like 50 miles was terrible. It was pretty much it was 5 hours of headwinds. Like really strong headwinds and really heavy truck traffic with virtually no shoulder. It was pretty tricky, but made it through. And I ended the day riding into Port Huron on some absolutely gorgeous rail trail. It was such a juxtaposition. Just 5 hours of just pure nonsense, and then having like a couple hours at the end of the day, which was just incredible rail trail. And then being in Port Huron and seeing my dad and getting some good food and beer was just a great way to end the day. And also having a shower in a nice hotel. So that was pretty spectacular. So yeah, and yesterday I recorded episode 25, a Saddle Time Philosophy installment, where I discussed empathy, and also sort of discussed a little bit more of yesterday's ride. So that episode's available, and I will say it's a pretty good one. So be good to give it a listen. But yeah, made it into Port Huron much earlier than expected, despite all the garbage conditions. I pretty much just rode the 67 miles straight. I did not stop. I stopped to grab water, and so like every town that I passed through, when my bottles were empty, I did a super quick refill, and I just sort of booked it straight. So yeah, made it into Port Huron by like 5:30, which was crazy, given the fact that I did not get as early to start as expected. So I was shocked there, even though I kept hyping up the fact that I was gonna get an early start. Didn't really get that early of a start. I attempted to make coffee soda a little like early on in my ride, whereby mixing soda water with instant coffee. And I've done this before, and it's exploded everywhere. And I kind of forgot that. So I stopped at a gas station and got like just fountain soda water, just like carbonated water. And I get outside and I get my instant coffee out because I wanted to, because make some soda water. For some reason, I thought those were called Italian sodas, but I don't think that's the case. And if anybody has tried this, they know that if you pour instant coffee, or even just coffee for that matter, in soda water, it has a baking soda vinegar reaction, or a Coke Mentos reaction. And so it it exploded everywhere on me and made such a mess. I had coffee all over me. And unbeknownst to me, I was riding with a giant coffee stain on my face all day, on my nose. So I get into Port Huron after a full day of riding, and my dad's like, "What the hell is on your nose?" And it's just this giant smear of dried instant coffee. So that was hilarious. I interacted with many people that day at the various gas stations and whatever else. So that was pretty funny. Yeah. So, yep. And then, like I said, got to Port Huron, and super cool little town. Went to probably the coolest cafe I've ever been to, at least ever been to on the tour. It was called the Raven Cafe, and it was like all Edgar Allan Poe themed. It was awesome. Or no, Raven Coffee House, I believe. Either way, it was such a cool, like, gothic, cryptic Edgar Allan Poe. Like, the decor inside was just, it was so eclectic. It was so cool. And we got some beers there, which is great. And some Michigan local beers, which is great. And then my dad got some food, and then we went to Kroger to so I could grab some supplies before crossing the border the next day. So that was yesterday. And then today I rode from Port Huron to Chatham, which is off the adventure cycling route. But I needed to get, so basically there was really no good camping option within a reasonable distance. It was either like not far enough or way too far. And camping in Ontario, Canada is very expensive. The campsite that I was gonna stay at, had I gone a little under on the mileage today, was 75 Canadian dollars, which is insane for tent camping. So I decided I wanted to at least get above a little over 50 miles today. So I ended up doing about 56 and a half, with virtually no climbing. It was pretty flat. I was following the St. Clair River pretty much all the way south. And then, all the way. So from Port Huron to Elginak, I followed the St. Clair River. That's C-L-A-I-R, not C-L-A-R-E. And that stretch of it was pretty great, actually. I had a nice tailwind. It was flat. I was going along the river. The the town of St. Clair, there's just beautiful houses lining the river, like just gorgeous houses, massive houses. And then in Elginak, I crossed the ferry. I crossed the river on the ferry. It's the Elginak Walpole ferry, and it cost me a whopping $3 to cross the ferry, which was pretty nice. The bicycle charge was like virtually nothing. And then I crossed through what was, I believe it was like a First Nations reservation for a while. And from Elginak to Chatham, I had just straight headwinds. And then I had like a 15-mile stretch from Wallaceburg to Chatham, following, what road was that? Baldoon Road. And it was pretty rough gravel with a headwind, and it was hot, and it was all exposed. It was all open. Check my Instagram for some photos there. There was a ton of windmills scattered all over the landscape as far as the eye could see, just revealing how fast in the direction of the wind, which was in my face, and there were some pretty strong gusts. So I had a mixed bag of headwinds and tailwinds today, which was nice to have the tailwinds, but I would have rather started with the headwinds and ended with the tailwinds, but don't always get what you want. Made it into Canada. So I'm done with Michigan. Crossed the entire state of Michigan. I can say that I crossed the entire state of Michigan into a giant headwind. So that's one for the record books there. I decided, as much as I wanted to camp tonight because it was nice, it'd be in my best interest to grab a hotel. Several factors. First of which, I had a ton of points, and the hotel tonight was free. Second, I wasn't super confident that I was gonna have good data, cellular data, once I crossed over the border. I've had issues in the past where once I make it into Canada, it says I have LTE or 5G, but it just doesn't work. So I didn't want to be SOL. I had a bunch of administrative stuff to do for onboarding for Skydio. After signing the offer letter, I got like all of my onboarding stuff. So I had a bunch of administrative stuff where I needed service. So I sat down and did a bunch of that tonight. So it was nice to have a hotel room with Wi-Fi. And I got all that cranked out, and I'm going to plan out the rest of my journey home. So I have like not that many miles left. And so far the game plan is to be home the 23rd or the 24th. So it's, once I cross Ontario, once I make it to Fort Erie, Buffalo, which will be in a couple days, it's getting towards the end. It's crazy. So yeah, bittersweet for sure. So yeah, that's it. Trying to think if there's anything else interesting. Not really. I'm gonna call it an early night. I did not sleep much last night, under 6 hours, which made today a bit more challenging towards the end. I'd say the last couple hours was pretty draining. So it feels good to taking a nice shower, got a bunch of administrative stuff done, and get some route planning in. Got to record this podcast and then have a good breakfast tomorrow, and then figure out what the rest of the journey looks like. So from Chatham, Kent, Ontario, Canada, au revoir for now.